Okay, so this is our little teardrop camper build that we're working on. You would notice that this is currently just a floor and a frame sitting on the ground. We need to put the interior walls in first, which is the plan for this video. So hopefully in this video, we will have pretty much all the interior done, like interior walls, running like puck lights and stuff in the ceiling, like little USB ports and stuff for charging your phone. And we got a cabinet back here we want to build too. So hopefully that'll be done this video. So the whole plan with this is to keep it as light as possible, kinda. This isn't exactly the lightest material we could have got. We just think it looks good for the interior. So we're kind of like skirting between cheap, light, and looks good. So, you know, you'll notice this is on a trailer right now. We're just building on the floor. If you want to learn more about that, go watch the first video if you haven't. But the whole plan for this is, you can see it's kind of on these skids here on the bottom to sit on. The whole plan is to make it where we can take it on and off of our little 5x8 trailer right there. That way we got a cool camper if we want to use it, and you know, we got a trailer when we want to use it. That's the whole plan. This is a little bit different design from everybody. I've only seen this done a handful of times. Most people put a door on each side. We only have one door in the back. We're gonna have a big window right here, big window right there, and then a window in the front. A lot of people don't do the window in the front. I wanted a window in the front, so we're going to put a window in the front. And we're going to have a door back here. Right here. It's going to be offset because that's the only way we can get an air conditioning fan in here. This isn't complete yet. This is what I'm saying. The air, y'all will see this in this video, but the cabinet is actually going to, it's going to tie everything in together to support this window unit we're going to put right here. So the window unit is going to be right here, and below it there's going to be a cabinet with a couple shelves that you can open up the door, go in there, and you know, open the drawer up or cabinet door or whatever and get your stuff out. I don't know. So yeah, we're kind of experimenting right now because this stuff specifies to glue it only, and we want to try to put nails in it. He's afraid, my dad, as he's downstairs looking at screws right now. He's afraid if you try to nail this, whatever like material that you make this is like a composite material, like really compressed hardboard and stuff. But the outside, I don't know what you consider that. He's afraid that if you try to drive a nail through this, it's just gonna like explode or whatever, or like crack and look terrible. So we're gonna try that. Yeah, and the air compressor's on, so let's get to work, I guess. Probably need me in there though. I can live with those nail holes. This stuff's about like peanut butter. We got this joint right here. It's where these angles come together. And yeah, it shows a little bit, but it's not bad. So we was able to take the screws back out of the frame and me push back up on this area and make that pretty much flush. So from the back, I don't think you'll ever see it. I think it looks pretty good. Now that should fit. That's supposed to fit. So right here, our lines come together really good.
And as we're going up through there, we'll get off a little bit, and we're off a little bit here, but I don't know.
Now we're going to see if it fits over here, so we can just trace it from this side.
Well, considering no more cuts than there is.
It's also brown on this side.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Good?
Yeah.
Somewhat?
So the last video ended off with us not really finishing this back wall back here, framing everything, because we didn't know how we was going to do this. So this looks a little bit goofy, but this is the back wall right here, obviously. So the plan is to have a cabinet right here, and building into the cabinet, you're going to have, or we're going to have, these two pieces of wood coming out. That's what these are notched out for. That is going to be tied into this, and tied into everything. Those are going to stick out, I don't know, like 8 inches to a foot on the back to support the window unit, which we're going to put in there. So that's the big hole, and that's why these are here.
Yeah, so we're putting the supports in now for the air conditioner. We got these to the right length, right height. This is going to be the main support, and we decided to tie it in to the front structure of the framing of the cabinet to make it even stronger. Because the last thing we want is this thing to bounce around and maybe even come out going down the road. So we're going to make absolutely sure that don't happen, even if it takes a little bit of extra framework and all that.
So these are treated 2x-somethings that we've cut down.
They're actually 1.5 by 2.
1.5 by 2. See how they're attached, and they're going to attach to the inside too. This side is just going to go straight down to the floor. This side we're going to have to put a new stud in to attach it somewhere right here. So it ought to be pretty sturdy when we're done.
And we're going to have some other reinforcements back here on the very back too.
Yeah. So I attached it, 2 long screws here. They go all the way through the wall into a stud that he put in. We put this in, don't pay attention how crooked it is, just for side-to-side support. And then screws all the way down here, across, yeah. Then this is just to support the siding we're going to put on. And then this is another one of these supports. So this ought to be the strongest part of the camper right now.
You could probably pick the camper up by
Yeah, he thinks you can grab the 2 out there and pick the camper up by it. So there's going to be siding here, there's going to be a countertop up here, and then there's going to be a little access door right here. So that ought to be good to support that air unit. We ain't too worried about how heavy this is. We got it torn apart right now because I don't really remember why we even took the front of it off.
to clean it.
Yeah, which we still haven't.
Because you run it for 2 years without cleaning it.
Yeah, this was my window unit from my apartment at college that ran for 2 years straight. You see someone's probably backed a book bag into it or something, but that's a good window unit. We ain't too worried about how heavy it is, just this is going to be bouncing a ton going down the road, so we wanted it sturdy. Okay, so things have changed a little bit in here. it is done pretty much. I had to run to a appointment to get new glasses, and while I was gone, he pretty much finished up this whole thing. We just put in the trim above the window through here and stuff. Looks pretty good. Still got to finish a cabinet, but yeah, it's the walls are pretty much done in here. We're gonna add like trim and stuff around the, to make it look a little bit better. We gotta do something with the door back there too, but we're gonna do that after the door is in here, to see what it needs. But right now we're gonna see if a window will even fit in here, because this is currently the only hole we have for a window. We're just slamming in there.
Wow.
Of course, the air compressor kicks on as soon as I start trying to get a cinematic shot of in here. Yep. Okay, so we spent all morning trying to figure out where to put the electronics and stuff like the battery and the solar panel charger and other stuff. We thought about putting it in this cabinet, but when we think about it, we think it needs to be up front because of weight bias. That way it's not too tail heavy or whatever the word is. So what we're going to do now is we have cleared off everything in there, and we're going to actually try to put it on the trailer. That way we can start laying stuff out and then go from there about where stuff needs to really go and stuff. Okay, so we've never loaded this before, so we don't know how it's going to go. But we do have it attached to a truck right now, the trailer I mean, so we don't have to worry about it trying to walk everywhere and stuff. Straight up. Yeah. Hold on, we're digging in the front, so let it back down a little bit. Oh yeah. Hang on. 1, 2, 3. End of the line. What did we hit?
Bolt.
What bolt?
In the middle.
Oh! Okay, so if we clear that, we can go forward another. Well, maybe not. By the time you had the sheeting on it.
Yeah.
It is crooked though. So it's on the trailer now, but I need to get the air condition out of that truck, and it's raining. So we're moving on to something else right now before we can start to get stuff in there and see where it wants to be, like the right weight on the tongue is. So I got these lights on the Amazon, little puck lights or pod lights. There's 6 of them. We don't know how many we're going to put in, but this little kit comes with a hole saw and everything. So we're going to put some lights in here while we wait for it to stop raining. Ooh. Oh, that made me nervous.
Why?
I saw that pop up. I thought it took a big chunk of this stuff off. That looks good.
Thank you.
That looks factory.
It is.
Huh.
It was done in our factory.
Is this a factory?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That looks pretty good.
Them would be better to get out of there.
You ain't getting them out of there. Hey, don't bite that. So we got the window unit in there, and here's a rough idea slash pretty good idea of where the battery will go. Right there. We went up here, can't get through here, and we lifted this up and we determined that we don't know what we're talking about because nothing really changed. It feels identical to how it was before we put this window unit and battery in, which should not be the case. So I don't know. Tell him about the battery. You ain't need to tell him about the battery.
You tell him about it.
This is a battery he ordered. I know nothing about it. That's why I told him to say something about it. It's super light. I don't know what the deal with it is, but apparently it's pretty good. One thing that he said that this was, it's sealed so we can put it inside. So that's something. Oh, and here's what the air condition looks like with the unit, like, face on it too. Black. There's a whole roof wired. Just drilled some holes. Used a couple 2, 4, 6, 12 twist nut things, maybe? Wire nuts, yes. Had to scooch the cat over at some point because it was laying right there. He didn't, I don't even think he woke up. And if you was going to comment saying we should have soldered this and stuff, you should probably go take a tour of one of these, like, I don't know, Jayco or another manufacturer. I guarantee you that 95% of them still do this. The camper that we took all the windows and stuff, I just showed you that hole, like there was a window there. But the windows and stuff we took out of, this is how everything was plumbed up in it. So this is an industry standard for all we're concerned about. Here we go. Wow.
Do they work?
Yeah. Looks like a dentist office in here. It's bright.
Told you 4 might have been there.
Well, we got 6 now. Wow. This is... That's gonna hurt in the middle of the night if I gotta look at something. Just if you're curious, the lights we just showed you guys putting in, plus the wiring, and we got a couple more lights up there and we'll show you here in a second we're gonna put in. All that pretty much came from Amazon. So, what I've been working on now, however, is this inverter right here mounting it. This is a Renogy 1000 watt pure sine wave inverter. That actually may have came from Amazon, I don't remember, but that is from my dad's Jayco, or my parents' Jayco camper. They're upgrading to a 2000 watt inverter, so I don't really remember the specifics of where he got this one, but this is going in this one. It's 1000 plus the battery. I just worked on mounting this right here. This is bolted to this piece of plywood, and then it is just screwed down in 3 spots. I did have 4 screws in there, but I took the one in the bottom left-hand corner out because once we get the siding and everything in here, that one all the way in that corner would be a booger to get out. So it's only got 3 in there, but that's good enough. We actually just finished taking this inverter apart because where they had it in their Jayco, they literally just like went cross country in it to Arizona. There was a bolt loose in there rattling around, so we took care of that. So there's the inverter mounted. I know the instructions say don't put it in the same compartment as the battery because, you know, the battery might let off gases and then kaboom, you know. We're not too worried about that because this is a sealed battery, so that should be fine. These batteries are meant to be put inside, like a normal traditional, like, you know, like a camper battery that goes on the tongue of a camper. You can't put that inside because of the fumes that it releases. This, you don't have to worry about that. And speaking of lights, that's a cat. Sorry, I just dripped sweat on him. This right here is a little book light we got. It's bendy and stuff. Probably going to put it on this wall right there. And that's pretty much going to be it for the electrical on this. On the outside, I ordered like a camper plug type thing, like a little 120 volt plug-in for shore power. You usually just plug it in, and the plan is for that to be running like a power strip. Inside for like an air fryer. I'd love to run an air fryer in here with a little TV. That'd be cool. And I'd love to find a air fryer that would run on this inverter. I think that's doable. Okay, so next we're working on wiring up the 2 lights I just showed y'all up front, plus the fan, which is going to go here. We just went to Harbor Freight, got a router bit. I'm going to put a 1/2-inch hole in here to start the router. And we're going to router this out and probably go ahead and wire a fan up. Okay. It feels super open in here now.
It will.
Oh, we got a skylight on the roof too. I can't get that word out. Uh-huh. You think they got in the cat's food? You think they got in the cat's food?
Probably.
They got in their water.
So we've got the rough end wiring done. So we're going to have an exterior light here by the door. And since we're known to go to state parks and everything where there's absolutely no light, we're going to make sure we got lights on the outside of this thing. They're all going to have their own switch on them, so that'll work good. So you can turn off what you don't need. So we got the one on the back. This is the side originally he's going to put the on in or easy up on, so we wanted extra light there. So we put one here. We got one here. We're going to have one in the front right there in the center. That's what these two wires right here is for. And so we decided to go ahead and do the same thing on this side to mirror the other side. So there's number 5 and there's number 6. 6 exterior lights on this thing. So we ought to be able to light up the neighborhood. So we're going to have a switch panel inside that we're going to mount right in this area. And you'll be able to turn them all off should you go in and leave part of them on. Or you can actually turn them all on, turn them off by the switch in here, and that way if a critter comes around at night or something like that,
individual
well, that's be a two-legged critter. Yeah. You can turn the lights on and they'll probably go a different way. So I think we've got it all wired. We got the wires roughed in up here for the vent fan. That's what we have here. Of course our puck lights are wired in. And the lights, the snake lights or whatever you want to call them, in the corners right there. And those come out looking really good. Oh, we have windows cut in now too. So that made a huge mess, but we got it cleaned up.
Okay, so next up on wiring, I'm going to work on putting this panel here to mount our light switches. So in the video, a couple videos ago, I don't exactly remember how many, of us going and getting like the windows and the doors off of a old like 80s Mallard camper to sacrifice for this. I picked up the old control panel off of it because I just thought it looked cool. And in the video I mentioned that this would be kind of cool to incorporate into this camper, which I think we're going to do that. I ordered some new switches to go right here into the old switches part. None of this up here is going to be used. It's just for looks. And I'm going to, this is where the old like battery monitor was. I'm going to incorporate that somehow. You'll see that before too long. So it's got these two little dowel pins. We're just going to use those as alignment pins. He marked it right there with 2 holes. I'm going to screw that in and then we can pop this on here and see how it looks. I think that's going to look pretty good.
Yeah, it will.
Some people watching it may hate it, but that's fine. These are the switches I ordered. They got a light inside. They're not an exact replacement because they're a little bit too narrow, but they fit pretty snug. They look pretty good too. Here's the switches wired up. I used white heat shrink because it's going to be inside the wall and I never find a reason to use white heat shrink. So we have a ton of it. This all needs to be did something with before the insulation stuff goes in. But we don't have exterior lights right now because those need to go in the walls on the outside. This one isn't hooked up to anything quite yet. Still thinking about that. But this one works their lights inside. And we would love to say we got this right the first time, but we didn't. Partly because the diagram that is given for these like switches where it says that, actually I think it said the bottom was ground. Which just wasn't true, so we wired it up with the diagram and then we blew all the fuses because the diagram wasn't right. So we wired these up a few days ago. And these have a USB port underneath for charging. So I need to still do some measurements. Mom will put like a little net right there and right here to throw your phone and empty your pockets in, so your phone can charge there and stuff. And those lights look really good too. Okay, so next up, we're actually putting an outlet here in this wall. Look at our expert cuts on that. Don't ask how I cut that out. I'll give you a hint. It rhymes with angle grinder. So the plan is to have... Actually, you explain.
So we're going to have a duplex receptacle right here. And then we'll have a three-way that will plug in here for one for the air conditioner,
TV.
to be able to possibly plug in an air fryer and the TV.
All to run off the inverter.
All to run off the inverter or shore power. So what I'm doing is I'm breaking off this tab right here that ties these two together to make two different circuits. And the reason I'm doing that, I'm going to run the inverter to one side and I'm going to run shore power or generator, which would plug in over here on the side, to the other one. That way all he's got to do is take the three-way or power strip, whatever you decide to use, go from one to the other. Because you can't run but one device at a time.
Yeah. So if you're camping somewhere off grid and then you get to a campground that has shore power, you literally just move the three-way up to the next one or down, whichever one it does. To run power from the inverter up to that, I'm drilling a hole in the wall. But this is going to plug into this. This inverter has that little black box right there is what that's for. So I'm going to drill the hole in the wall, run the wires through there up to that, and then that'll be pretty much installed. But on the outside, we have... Where'd it go?
Is it laying in the floor?
I don't know. You can pretty much get the idea. He was going to cut this end off and like hardwire it into one of the outlets on that thing. But issue is we want to be able to go in this wall, not through it. And a lot of these are designed to go through the outside wall and the inside. So this would be way too thick to do that. We would have to cut a hole in this inside wall, like in the cabinet, obviously, to hide it. And then go back into this and plug it into there. So we ordered a new one that we think is going to be thin enough. That'll be here tomorrow to hopefully not have to do that. Okay, so up next, while we're waiting on parts to finish up that outlet and stuff, we're going to move on to actually enclosing this cabinet, which is exciting because I've been waiting to do that since I guess we built it. So we're going to put sides on it, and right here is going to be two doors, like two cabinet doors, because this is going to be divided. That way we can dedicate this whole lower section for the inverter, the battery, fuse box. There's going to be a solar panel charger right there. Have that as one door, and then up here have this as the main door. That way, do two doors. That way, if say you put a pair of shoes right there, you don't have to move your shoes to open this main door, because 9 times out of 10 you're not going to be able to. You're not going to need to get into this one. You're going to be in the one above it is what I'm trying to say. And to make that, I've got some material here that I got for free out of a shed. I like it. I think it's pretty. This is going to be the main piece to go right here, what you'll see all the time. I like the holes and stuff in it, like the knots and stuff. I think that's pretty. And, got one right there. I like stuff like that. I think that's going to be nice to look at. Where's the TV? It's right here. It's a little Samsung cheapy small TV that we bought at a yard sale for $2. Doesn't have a remote, but if you hook a Roku up to it, that'll work for the remote. He wants to, I've got an idea where I want to mount it. He wants to put it on the ceiling above.
I think that's a good idea.
Above where you're laying. And he's been talking about that since before, I think actually before we even finished the floor on this.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. I'm thinking mount it over there.
You can't do that. The air conditioner's over there.
Well, the air conditioner will be able to blow over the TV and stuff. There's a stud right there we can put. There's like a swinging TV mount to put right there. That can all be decided later, but I know for sure it's not going on the ceiling. Yep. So underneath here is battery and stuff. That's just a really good little storage area right there. And here's the test of can we get this out. Yes. Easily.
I wouldn't say easy.
Easily. That's just a little storage, or actually it's an ammo can from Harbor Freight that we're gonna put like extra fuses, tools and stuff in. And we're definitely gonna need to wire this up now with how tight everything is in there. This is just a little remote switch that you can mount on a wall and run down to the inverter to turn it on. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay, there's the cabinet done. Went ahead and installed the doors with the latch and everything. You just saw us put the countertop on. This top right here acts in two ways. It acts as a countertop, but it also, you saw we notched it out. You can kind of see right there. This also is a main part in keeping the air condition in. You can see right here that it slides all the way in and it clamps these little like 2 square rectangle bits. That's how that is kept in. And we left a notch out in the corner to see that the line or the power cable goes all the way around, kind of tucks in right there. Excess is going out in there, or going down in there, so that looks a little bit better. This cabinet is all reclaimed wood. I think I mentioned that this all came from a shed, pretty much. That's why it, has holes and stuff everywhere, like extra drill holes. I think it looks pretty cool, and I think it's pretty too. We didn't do any of this to it. This was already like had the varnish and the shiny juice on it. This bottom wood piece is able to come out because you'll need to be able to take this out for the battery. It's pretty easy. See, we notched it all the way around the supports and stuff. For the second door, we didn't put a knob or anything. We just left it sticking up a little bit. That's how you open it. I still need to get in here, run wires and stuff, and mount that fuse panel. There's also going to be a solar charger right there, but that's not going to happen at some. That'll happen at some point, but not right now. Works really good. And you can't even tell that this whole side piece or this whole thing is a 1/2 inch out of square because we messed up on it pretty bad. And where this is structural to the camper and keeping the air conditioning unit in, it wasn't as easy as just redoing it. Well, it probably was. We just didn't want to. Yeah, which is weird. This whole thing is 1/2 inch out of square. Like up here is a 1/2 inch wider than down here. It's bad. We had to freehand this whole edge right here, or he did. He had to freehand this whole edge right here because it's doing that. But you can't really tell it. But what's weird is it lines up like perfectly with everything, like the lines in the floor and the line going up the wall. I don't know how that happened. So if we would have fixed this being out of square, this all would have probably looked terrible. So I don't know. Again, I don't know how that happened, but it did. Okay, so here's a little update on a few things. This right here, which has our light switches and stuff, I have since installed one of these things, which I was talking about earlier. That was just about a perfect fit to go in right there. And you open it up, you've got a big USB and 2 USB Type-Cs, and push the button, it tells you your battery monitor percentage too. Or not percentage, your voltage. Everything right there just looks really good. I wanted to use this out of the old camper specifically for this purpose, so I'm glad I did. And you notice the air condition is plugged in to a receptacle that is now mounted in the wall because we are now on shore power, so I can do this. And I can have AC. So that works. So right here, the top is shore power, the bottom is inverter. So if you're somewhere you want to use your TV, but you're in a Walmart or Cracker Barrel parking lot, you unplug the whole thing and put it down there. So that's super easy. And I was able to finish that receptacle up because this right here is put on. This is not the final color. This is kind of ugly right now. But we got one wall put on. you guys won't see anything really about that until the next video. So yeah, and we figured out what we wanted to do on trim. The PVC trim, we still have it, we might use it. It was just super warpy and stuff, but this is just quarter round wood trim already painted from Lowe's. It was about double the price, and it's a lot bigger, so we didn't know how it would look, but it looks pretty good. So we need to tack the rest of this stuff up, and then this interior will just about be done. So to be 100% frank, this is about a month and a half after I've recorded anything on this video, which is the interior of this camper build. So things have progressed. Some things will be new, and that'll be something that will be explained in the upcoming videos. But this interior it's not 90% done. It's like 98% done. The only thing we have to do now is trim around this door. That can be done in like a future video. But yeah, this is it. Yeah, we got puck lights up here, and we got the lights up there. And big thing is that we've got screens on these windows now. I didn't record very much of this, actually none of it. But all I did, these are the original screens, that used to be brown. And all I did basically was clean all this up with a wire wheel on a drill. And then at least on these two, that one I actually taped up, and it took too much time, so I decided to experiment a little bit. When I painted like this part of the screen, I went ahead and just painted the screen and everything. This window's nasty right now. I forgot to clean it, so ignore that. But I painted the screen and everything, and on camera you can't really see it, but it looks really good. So we have screens, and I went ahead and did this morning too. We also have crank out doms. So we actually got some from the camper that we got these windows from, but they're super brittle plastic. They're the wrong color. I would paint them, but again, I think me squeezing this too hard is what broke this. I just put my thumb through that. So I went ahead and ordered some new ones. These are fancy because this spins on the thing. You know what I'm talking about. And they work pretty good. Also, where these windows are just like a little bit different depth from the because of the walls a little bit, I guess, deeper on this. These wouldn't have worked anyways because you go all the way in, and this was sitting on the frame, so that wouldn't have worked. Scooch up here, these work. The only thing I haven't done yet, that'll probably be in the future video, of just like tidying things up and finishing loose ends. I want some sort of storage right here on the wall. That way you can plug your phone in, because this has a charging port on the bottom. I want some sort of like netting right here, or cubby, just to plug your phone up and just put it right there. I haven't quite figured that out yet. Oh, and the biggest thing is, I just remembered what I left off on this video. We was putting trim up, and the trim that we chose looked absolutely terrible. It was like that PVC stuff. We went back to Lowe's. This is just painted wood trim. This is foam. I'll get to that. But all of this is painted quarter round trim, which looked way too big in the store. That's why we didn't go with it the first time. But in here, it looks pretty decent, actually. And you see this is going up and dead away, and it stops right there because we got to do the door too. This right here was a joint, if y'all remember, and we just got this like flat piece of trim to cover it up. It looks a different color on camera, but it's worth not. That looks pretty good. I'm not gonna go into too much detail. I'll let you look. Why not? Before you say anything, this color is more blue on camera than it is in person. I don't know why, but this comes out of as bright blue on camera. It's not. It's like a grayish blue color. It actually looks really good in person. And this is one of the old doors we took off of that Mallard camper. We have cut that down, shortened it for this, and we've actually rebuilt it because this door is 100% rotten, which we knew it was. So it is a new frame, everything, new insulation, new foam insulation. That'll be its own separate video. Got the air conditioning set in place. It's not sealed around it yet, but it is set in place. Actually, pretty much everything you're seeing now, except for the door, is next video. So be on the lookout for that, because in the next video, we take it from just the interior pretty much. We wire the whole thing, and it gets to this point right here pretty much. So be on the lookout for those videos. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. That way I can start working on our roof. And that's it. So thanks for watching.